So hey guys, no doubt as you've already seen by now, Texas had a freeze which resulted in loss of power for 3 days. So of course this week has kind of gone mostly to addressing that. So there isn't a whole lot of news to share right now other than that I am past the halfway point in one of my big projects that I am still working on editing some of the ones that I have completed, and that I'm also trying to put together what I'm calling a control panel so that I can have at a glance a view of all of my projects that are on the board or in progress or any of that, so that I can see at a glance exactly where it is. And hopefully it'll allow me to better plan in the future for things that I'm going to do. Now, it's still my hope that I can finish at least one of these big projects before I have to go back to work, which is probably approaching within the next 2 to 3 months at the latest. But we'll see exactly what happens because it's kind of dependent on a few things. I mean, I would like to stretch it as long as possible just because honestly I have been enjoying living and working at home, and this is, I guess, a plus side because it gives me a lot more flexibility with my schedule. But we will see, and hopefully within the next few weeks or so, although I don't want to make any promises, I will finish Arkantel's book and I will get to do a video review of said book. Now, I think that in the future I'm going to just read books and review them and not make I mean, even though it wasn't like a hard promise or anything, but I did say that I wanted to review his book, and I do. And I know there's another author that I had offered, that I said I was going to do it at some point, which I'm sure that it's not. I mean, it's not like it's any kind of scheduled obligation, but even still, I think that at least in as things progress, I will just pick books and then just decide to review them and not tell anybody anything until I actually have their review, done and finished, just so that I can decide if and when I want to, and this way it won't, at least in my mind, be one of those things I have to do. So even though it would be a project on my board, it would be like, I would feel better if I guess I didn't feel like I had to make sure that I did it, and rather it was just something that I enjoyed doing and something that perhaps taught me a little bit more about the craft. But that's neither here nor there, because there's no pressure being put on me by anybody other than myself, which is usually more than enough. But the blackout did give me an opportunity to read a good chunk of the book, so hopefully I'll be able to finish that relatively soon and then get the review into the pipeline and be able to relay my thoughts on that book. And a couple of things that I want to talk about real quick. My car did pass inspection on the third try, and it was explained to me that it was mostly okay, but it does have something that I will need to take care of this year because apparently the tire treads are getting worn. So, they passed it, but they said, you're going to have to get this taken care of sometime in the future. So right now I'm targeting summerish to get a new set of tires, and hopefully I mean, that should be fine because I don't do a lot of driving right now. And I also want to wait until I actually have a regular income to go buy 4 brand new tires. Now, this, of course, also kind of puts the onus on the job search to be sometime at probably the latest, sometime around May. But we'll see, because I mean, I'd like to stretch it as long as I can, but I don't. I have a marker point for when my resources hit a certain point where when this happens, it's time to start looking for a job. And so far, I haven't hit that point. I am a little close right now, but I have some money coming in, and we'll see how things go. But for the time being, I have a plan, I have a schedule, and hopefully, I can make the most out of this time that I have, because editing has been taking a good chunk of my time. I've been trying to divide my available windows into these two things. And I guess the next thing to talk about is I have been getting back into Star Trek Online. If you guys, I guess I don't really expect anybody would know, but when Star Trek Online first came on, uh, became a thing, I guess about 11 years ago now, I started playing it, and I was playing it pretty heavy for a while, and it was fun, and I really enjoyed it. But there really wasn't that much content at launch, I guess. There was a couple of different storylines, and I think I played the max of what my character could do, and I think I played a little bit more when I had or could make a Cation character, which, if you don't know, is the race of cat people from Star Trek. So, I played for that, and then I kind of fell out of it for a while, long enough so that I forgot my account login information and had to make a new account. So, sometime during the break, and I guess it was around November or December, I created a new account and I signed in and I started creating, a character for each faction. And eventually I realized, all of the content that had been poured into the game since then. Now, some of these taglines for the expansions I'd remembered seeing, but I kind of forgot about until recently. And what's really cool about online games is that, MMORPGs, they can patch and update new things and adjust the content because there's some quests that I know that are not there anymore, some new content that they've worked in. And it's, if you're not familiar with the game, it's set 30 years after Star Trek Nemesis, and it kind of integrates a lot of the on screen content that we've seen so far, like from Discovery. They have TOS from the original series arc. They have your ability to play Romulans, Klingons, and Jem'Hadar as well, which is apparently a new thing from a couple years ago. And there's a lot more content in there now than there was before. So, I have sunk quite a bit of time and a little bit of money into the game to play, and it's a lot of fun. It's something I think that I'll keep on doing going forward, but I definitely do need to play a little less than I have been because it's kind of addictive. And me being a pretty big Star Trek fan, you guys probably know that I have a lot of fun there. But if you guys have an STO account and you're on PC, I am on there, and I'm not exactly sure how you find people, but I if I know you, I don't mind sharing my information. So, definitely wouldn't mind having a few more friends on STO for those of you that play. And the last thing I want to talk about real quick is my cat. She has been eating a little bit more. We switched her to kitten food, which are smaller pieces and more protein. So she has been gaining a little bit more of that of her weight back, but she's still not where I would like her to be. But her disposition seems good, and for the time being, she seems to be improving. But we're still going to keep an eye on her and see what happens. Hopefully, she will continue to keep eating and build up her energy and build up her strength. And I guess that's it for right now. But if there's any new information, I will share it with you, and I will catch you guys later.
Thanks for watching, and if you liked it, click the subscribe button and leave a comment below. You can also find me on Twitter and a few other places on the web, or support me via Patreon or Ko-fi. Zebra hugs!